when I found out that we were getting a featured twirler, I was immediately like, oh no, we are using her in the drill to create effect. And that is not something I think the average college band thinks about, especially in relationship to their twirlers. Oftentimes, like, soloists are just like, okay, go twirl over here in the corner and good luck, or go find some space in between this, or go find some space in between that. And what we have done between Brad and I is use her in just like the best way that like any color guard soloist you would ever see. You see the ripple go all the way down, and you know that rifle soloist or that saber soloist is going to toss and catch. Well, now I've got a girl, with a 3 baton doing 6 turns and catching it behind her back. Like, with how, that's a huge effect, so like we've used that to create amazing programs just built on that little one moment. And that's college band, certainly.
Hey everybody, this is Tim Hinton, the Beast of the Marching Arts. We are still talking about Widener University. Such an interesting conversation we're having about the marching band program being started there. With us on this call, Iain Moyer's here. Iain, how are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for being here. Jeremy Williams is with us. Jeremy, how are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm good, thanks for being here. And Brad Donoris is with us. Brad, how are you today?
I'm doing well, thank you for asking.
So Jeremy and Brad are the gurus of the visual program and helped to figure out what the visual program at Widener was going to be as they started the marching band. So Jeremy, introduce yourself real quick.
I'm Jeremy Williams. I am the color guard director at Widener University. I also own Guard Closet, so I'm involved in a lot of color guard all the time. I help produce a podcast called On a Water Break that Tim has been on several times. And I'm currently in the midst of producing Philadelphia Pride, June 2nd, for 70,000 people coming to the city. So yes.
Jeremy, always in the middle of so many great projects. Thanks for the good work that you do everywhere. And Brad, tell us about yourself, please.
Yeah, I'm Brad Donoris. I am the visual designer and the marching instructor for Widener University. I've been doing the marching arts for forever, I guess is a good number. Just been involved with various outdoor as well as various indoor projects with DCI, WGI groups, and local groups as well.
So Iain, once again, you've got these ringers, man, as part of your program. You collected such fantastic people to help you.
Well, I'm super grateful. And, the folks we spoke to on the music side of things earlier, grateful for their help, but particularly grateful for Jeremy and for Brad's involvement with the Widener Band. They've been with us since the beginning when we fielded the marching band in 2018 and saw us through a pandemic and even stronger on the other side of it. And we're excited to have them both involved in the program. And they're not only like the designers of the color guard work and obviously the drill and so on, but they're the instructors at rehearsal each week. So it's great to have great local folks who can really impact the program and so on. So admittedly, if this is like the marching roundtable confessional, like I am not necessarily visually focused. Jeremy and I have many conversations about how we speak different languages. I speak music, he speaks visual, but I'm super grateful to have both of these folks involved and others helping craft the visual component of the band program at Widener. I've never marched an actual set of drill in my life as a front ensemble person. I've cleaned a lot of them. I've painted a lot of dots and so on, but I'm super grateful to have these two folks, really, as the backbone of the visual program at Widener.
And that's sort of like he's selling himself very short in this statement, to be honest. I mean, yes, of course, I'll say something like, hey, Iain, the conversation was like, I needed to be more lush or more glitter. What was the conversation? The music conversation? He's like starts texting me and then picks it up. It's like, I need to understand what that word means. Like, I need more of a descriptor. You can't just say I needed to be more lush as a visual person and then expect me to know what that means. And I'm like, okay, well, that's what this means, like.
Yeah, correct.
Well, Iain, the thing I love about what you're doing is you're proving one of the great leaders realize the things that they're not strong at or don't have a lot of experience at, and then find great people and then trust them to do their work. And that's what you've done here clearly. So Brad, he comes to you and he says, okay, we're starting the visual program for this marching band. As we talked yesterday, for the music side, anything goes, right? For a college band, it can be any style you want. You can play any kind of music you want. You decide what your brand's going to be. I don't know if the conversation is that varied for visual. How did you guys decide to start working on what it was going to look like?
I mean, I think it just kind of evolved from the get-go. Like, you know, we started with what we knew, like, you know, just because we all have a core style background, and we kind of went in that direction. And all at the same time, you know, Iain also has a university background as well, and he talked about some of the elements he's done. And I think it's kind of more over the years. So it's like started as like more core style. It's kind of become more of a hybrid. We try to make it more audience accessible. We try to make the, you know, performer accessible. Just have fun doing the show, and just, you know, just you still have your core elements. You still have like maybe a little bit of show band in there. You know, just kind of a hybrid of different elements we take. You know, color guard world especially. I think, yeah, you have some of the indoor, some outdoor. It's kind of like just everything has become like more of a hybrid than what we try to do visually.
Yeah, it was interesting to walk into something that you're like creating from the ground up and deciding what the identity, you know, of it is. And I mean, I think the identity was obvious just based on who was being brought into the room, right? I mean, you have just like, I mean, I like to say it's like, I've never marched drum corps or whatever, but it's like the titans of the pageantry world coming in to do this little, you know, southeastern Pennsylvania small little private college marching band that we all look at from a standpoint of education and our background of drum corps and all of those kinds of things, indoor color guard, and that elevation of design, right? That sophistication of design, that well thought out design, but then it has to be 1,000% accessible for every single member that's going to see it, and people that are watching it are, you know, the 75-year-old grandma that's coming to watch her son play football, and the 10-year-old, you know, brother of the football player, just as it is the band member who wants to play interesting music and be challenged. So it's taking all of those things and sort of like mashing it up all together. And from the visual side, we're able to get the smart kid. I like to say this about Widener, and Ian's already knows what I'm going to say, is the Widener band is the smart kids of the marching band. We get the, like, when you think about some of the big college marching bands, a lot of those are like music major based. We're not music major based. We are like engineer based. We are nursing based. We are, you know, and that's a different base to operate from when you're teaching a marching band. But the amazing thing about all of these performers is their level of intelligence and processing of things is so fast that like we could just do whatever, whenever, however, and they're like, we've got it. It's locked in. It's been a building process, but it's locked in.
Yeah, I love that. You know, I worked for many years at Georgia Tech Band, and there was like 90% engineering students. And I can tell you, we could learn drill. It was ridiculous. Like we could learn like 100 pages in an hour because the way their brains process the information, it was so fascinating to me. So Iain, it's nice to have a variety of students with these sort of the way their brains work.
Yeah, definitely, for sure. And I think for us, you know, again, there's no music majors, and we rehearse, you know, we basically in the fall rehearse twice a week, Mondays and Fridays for 90 minutes. And then we obviously rehearse on the weekends when we have home games and do a short band camp, kind of a week leading up to the semester starting. I think for us, like everything we do, and I try to think of it this way from a musical standpoint, I think we do visually as well, it's got to be on a Widener scale. Like we're not the biggest, we're not the loudest, you know what I mean? But everything has to be on kind of a Widener scale. And I think a few of the elements that we introduced like immediately, I remember when I was pitching the marching band and somebody asked me to come up with a proposed budget. One of the things I thought of immediately is like, okay, we need backdrops, we need props, if we're not going to be the biggest band, and we took the field with 40 something people in 2018. Well, okay, well, what if we had 4 backdrops, and then that evolved into 7 stages, and there's going to be more stages next year. So that when we take
more
the
stages,
field,
imagine that.
yeah, exactly. So that when we take the field, we can kind of create our own little stage. And you know, Brad has been really helpful. Like essentially, our practice field ends at the back hash. So which is where we kind of design our show for, from the front sideline to the back hash. And I think Brad's been instrumental in, I think one of the things, the conversations I always have is like, okay, if we're doing this chart, like what's the minimal number of sets we can do in it? Not that we don't want to, maximize it, but what's the minimal number of sets? And I think Brad has been good at kind of taking that and figuring out, okay, when can we hold? When can we, we're a college band. We don't have to be moving all the time and so on. So Brad can speak a little bit more about that, but I think that's been kind of a key component, trying to do everything on a wider scale, and trying to figure out what is possible and what isn't possible.
Well, I think that's the smart design aspect that you got, bringing in, people that have been doing their job for a while, is that, we can look at it and say, yes, Iain wants as minimal sets as possible. And then Brad and I can go, well, the band's going to hold here and the color guard's going to move here. And now we've got another set, right? Or now we've got more movement on the field to, just create more interest, because the band is holding, now the color guard is moving. The color guard is holding, now the band is moving. Like that just within itself gives us that momentum and that motion. And the color guard kids are still color guard kids. They're still very visual, even though we talk about them being like the engineers. They're still very visual. So teaching them is still very much teaching a color guard kid, where it's like, just run over there and come back, and that's fine, right? Like that's totally fine.
Yeah, I think, for myself, I think the biggest thing is just time management and just being able to, we have 90 minutes a session, so 2 days a week. So not trying to shove as many sets as possible, but being logical with the set progression and what's going to make sense, phrase wise. And that plays a factor in how I, when myself and Jeremy doing a lot of this, a lot of start stop and whatnot. So.
Well, we also have the advantage of, at least for the past couple of years, of having a featured twirler be involved with us, which has added hugely to the visual effect, which maybe sounds a little ridiculous, but to say that one featured twirler can add to your visual effect. I come from a twirling background, so when I found out that we were getting a featured twirler, I was immediately like, oh no, we are using her in the drill to create effect. And that is not something I think the average college band thinks about, especially in relationship to their twirlers. Oftentimes, like, soloists are just like, okay, go twirl over here in the corner and good luck, or go find some space in between this, or go find some space in between that. And what we have done between Brad and I is use her in just like the best way that, like, any color guard soloist you would ever see. You see the ripple go all the way down, and that rifle soloist or that saber soloist is going to toss and catch. Well, now I've got a girl, with a 3 baton doing 6 turns and catching it behind her back. Like, with how, that's a huge effect, so like we've used that to create amazing programs just built on that little one moment. And that's college band, certainly.
Yeah, I love that you just said that, because you see these giant college bands with 300-400 people, and they do sort of just stick the majorettes in the corner or something, and I've always thought that was really ridiculous, because, as you said,
it's a waste of resources, honestly.
Yeah, they're bringing a lot of effect to the show. So Brad, let's talk about that. Like, it's really making the most of whatever you have, right? That's the trick, especially for a band with such limited rehearsal time.
Yeah, I mean, it's just making sure, like, we know what we need to get done in a certain amount of time, and just, I think, like, one of the big things, like, early on, like our first year, we had like, I forget how many sets we had with the drill, but after that, we're like, this is way too much. So we learned from our mistakes, we build upon that, and we're like, all right, let's just make it more accessible, just make it more, let's be able to get more done in a short amount of time. And I think it's just the biggest thing is just, what we can do in that 90-minute frame. But it's just a lot, and I think we do get a lot done in that 90-minute frame. Just what we have, just understanding, like, we have to warm up, color guard's got to warm up, the band's got to warm up. All right, now let's get together, let's work on the productions or whatnot. So it's just a matter of just getting, it's just, like I said, just time management and just knowing the focus we have to get done. So.
That's a college gig in general too, like the time management thing. And I think again, coming into a university gig, you have to think about you're teaching university students. You're not teaching high school students. You're not even teaching drum corps students. You're teaching university students who are A, there for academics, right? Like that's the priority. But B, are used to having to go into a class prepared for what they're about to do. So me teaching the color guard, I'm saying you need to show up to my rehearsal prepared to do what you have to do, meaning because we only have 90 minutes. And so if you need to work on this part, or you need to stretch, or you need to warm up your hands, that's probably going to be something you're going to need to show up early to do, and do that. Because we only have 90 minutes for this rehearsal, and we've got to teach, 4 more drill sets and 2 more band body movements and whatever. So the time management of it, we also end up putting on the students and saying, you really have to do your homework, your college level homework, to come into this band rehearsal knowing what to do and where to go and all those things.
Agreed. And I think the interesting thing about college band too is like, not all of it has to be a drill. You know what I mean? Not all of it has to be like marching and maneuvering, to use that old term, like there's times, we did, one of our productions last year was Toxic by Britney Spears, and the drum line's playing like a 4-bar drum break. There's like a club riser going on within the soundscape. The band's like running across the field, and then they're doing a dance, underneath the drum break, and while the dancers are dancing and so on. So
with the dancers,
part about
right?
College band, it's not. It doesn't always have to be drill. You know what I mean? As far as that's concerned.
Well, you skipped over a very important point when you say the dancers. Like a couple of years ago, there's a dance team, at Widener, and I saw them on the field performing before us, and I said they need to be in our show. And a couple of years later, they're now in our, they do one of our production numbers. They come out, and it's phenomenal. It's 16 to 20 sometimes dancers, and they're part of the production, and it literally changes the entire thing. I mean, we go to the College Marching Band Festival up in Allentown every year, where it's like 25 college bands on, kind of the Mid-Atlantic East Coast region. And we were one of the bands that would go on first because we were new initially. And I remember us performing the first time and seeing this small little band in this giant Allentown, stadium that everybody knows of, Allentown Stadium, and not feeling like we had a small band, because everything just kept coming. And we added in, we had the band that was amazing. We had the color guard amazing. And then at one point, halfway through the show, 20 more dancers showed up. And we used that strategically to build into that, right? Like we didn't reveal visually our entire band right from the get-go. It was, hey, let's do this cool stuff with the band and the color guard. Now let's do this cool stuff with the band and this feature twirler. Now look, we've got 20 more people coming out from behind these backdrops to do this whole other number, which also, by the way, gives the band a break and less drill sets for them to have to learn. So it's like, it becomes this like game almost of like, I don't know, Tetris or something, of like piecing together like time versus ability versus entertainment, just versus what we want to see that's super cool. And in marching band, we still are cool designers, like we're still creating beautiful visual and musical things, but we're doing it in a little bit of a different package, I guess.
Yeah, and Iain, this is really college. You're entertaining the crowd. The most important thing is the music, how it sounds and how it's affecting the audience, right? And then I feel like, not that this visual stuff isn't important, it sounds like you're being really smart about how you're putting it together, but you're not asking them to do more than they need to do. You're designing for success, is what I think he's describing.
Yeah, I think that's accurate, and I don't want to sell our Widener students short. As Jeremy said, I mean, they're super smart, and they're really dedicated, and that shows. But we have a limited rehearsal time, and so we're trying to put something out there that is of maximum effect in the amount of time that we have, under the challenges that we have and so on. So, but I think that's the fun part of it, and I think that's the thing that we've started to grow each year. There's always a little bit more, and there's a little bit more, and there's a little bit more, and trying to just engage visual and musical concepts and keep them evolving so that it feels fresh and fun and challenging, and what we did last year is and what we're doing this year, and so on. And again, with college band, you can do, there's no points. It's beautiful. There's no recaps. There's no points. It's heavenly.
No boxes. There's no criteria. There's no,
Correct.
our
So
criteria is to make people clap. Like,
Correct.
that's our criteria.
No commentary.
Exactly.
Well, and it's actually, I mean, the other criteria that I think take very seriously, I mean, at least I take very seriously, is hitting on the entertainment value of all of our audience, because we do have a wide range. So when we talk about a show and what the idea is for the I guess the nugget of the concept, if there, and there is one, like there is some sort of like nugget that holds it all together. When we select the music and therefore select everything else, it is, okay, we need, we want a song that's going to hit this generation. We want a song that's going to hit this generation. We want a song that's going to hit this generation, because that's who we're dealing with. That's who our audience is. That's who we want to get to excite. That's who we want to get excited, and that's who we want to keep in the stands. And I actually think we do a really good job of that. Like, I don't think our stands like empty out when it's halftime, at Widener anymore. I think that was an initial thing when we first started, but like, we're involved. We decided we were going to create a pregame, and there's a visual part to it, and we make a tunnel with the cheerleaders, with the dance team. They all, we play the fight song, the football team comes running through at the end, and then, we do the Star Spangled Banner on the field. We've made our presence known, immediately into the Widener family, and they've gone, yeah, we love you guys. Like, we want to watch it. And I think it's because we have reached out to them, right? Like, it's not making a show for us. It really is making a show for them to enjoy.
I piggyback on that. There's a slogan around Widener that it used to be the motto. We have a new motto now, but the old motto was we're all Widener, and I think that's a really cool thing. The pregame is an element we were talking about earlier that coming out of the pandemic, 2021, we decided, okay, we're going to do an official pregame. We're going to get the cheerleaders involved. We're going to get the Pride Pack dance team involved, and so on. We're going to do an official pregame and kind of like get all the spirit squads, if you think of it that way, the band, the cheerleaders, obviously the color guard are part of the marching band, and then the Pride Pack dance team, and put together a short little pregame to get everybody excited. Then the team runs out, we play the fight song, do the national anthem, and get out of there. It's short and effective, but it's purposeful, and it's fun to kind of collaborate across campus like that.
And I want to say it is collaborative. It isn't the band. I mean, we're sort of the guiding force of like the pregame thing, but it is also working with the cheerleaders and the dance team so that it's one presentation. Oftentimes, you have the band and they'll play the song, and you have the cheerleaders on the side doing whatever, and then it's not coordinated. They operate as two different things. In our pregame, it is a coordinated effort. We give them count block. We tell them where they're standing. We say, you're going to do this on count 4 because the band's going to do this on count 8, and we're going to progress into this effect because the flags are tossing in the back. It's thought out so that even it's entertaining for us, because we can see, ooh, it's like, or maybe it is just for me, where I go, ooh, the dancers did something, the cheerleaders did something, the band did something, and I saw the flags tossed in the back. That's going to grab me, or like the marching band person, but the crowd's just going to go, oh, they're all working together. It's like this great visual moment, right? But it gives us that little extra of like drum corps people or marching band people to go, oh, it's fully coordinated. And I challenge people out there in the university world, especially in this scenario. I know some of the bigger universities, you operate within like a very strict traditional structure that's always been there for decades and decades and decades. I think the smaller college bands have like a little bit more ability to kind of move around within. So I challenge them all out there in the small little band world to think outside of like traditional marching band and involve other things. And when you're going to involve the cheerleaders in what you're doing, like tell them, help them, make it more interesting, make it more visual, make it more musical together. That's what I think is like the thing to do.
Yeah, so to that point of not doing what's necessarily expected of a small college marching band, Brad, let's talk again about these stages and backdrops that Iain mentioned. Like, tell us about those, and how are you using those?
I think, well, the stages, there's these circular stages. They're like 2 feet, 3 feet. and the measurements, I'm trying to exactly remember. We have like 5 or 6 of them. I think we're having a few more of them this year, I believe, Jeremy.
11.
11 to be exact, yes. So yeah, we just, the primary focus for those like stages, we just use them to either, feature a performer on there, feature an ensemble. This year we're talking about even just like moving the stages around a little bit more to create another effect, another stage, standing them up, maybe rolling them a little bit. Just kind of creating that idea. For the backdrops itself, it's just pretty much stationary, just set the mood, set the tone of what we're trying to do show wise. But those backdrops usually stay where they're at. But it's the stages we are working with, especially this year. Last couple, we've been doing these stages maybe 1 or 2, for 2 years now. But this year we decided to up the ante a little bit and just try to create more of a variety, just make it a little more unique than what we've been trying to do.
I think when we decided we were talking about the nugget of the theme of the idea of the show, and I was pushing Iain with these round stages, and I knew we were getting 4 more round stages, so we would have these 11 round stages on the field, and they have the ability to go from being flat to upright. I said we've got to hit on a variety of people, age ranges, in terms of your audience. So can we do a show that's basically called Vinyl at Heart, where we're starting, from songs that you would hear on vinyl and moving through CDs and moving through, digital music. So now being able to use these round stages up as, they'll start off looking like records, and then at some point they'll look like CDs, and then they'll just be colorful and crazy for the end. And if you would have said to me 5 years ago that we would be in a place where we would be able to move stages and move backdrops during our show at Weiner University, I'd be like, you're crazy. But the fact remains is what these students have sort of pushed us to have to be able to do is come up with these more interesting but almost simple effects. Because again, we still only have 90 minutes. The kids want us to do more. They want to do more, but we still only have 90 minutes to get it accomplished. So it's still finding that trickery of like, how can we do this? So it's like, all right, we're going to move stages this time, but now we're going to move stages while the Pride Pack team is dancing. So the band doesn't have to worry about anything other than moving this stage. Fine, easy. So you could program your show out. The brilliant thing, actually, I will tell you this, the brilliant thing is that I can say to Iain, hey, Iain, we need 16 more counts. We need 32 more counts. I'll say we need 64 more counts, and Iain will go, you can have 32. But then it'll immediately get to the music guys, and it'll be switched, and it'll be fixed, and it'll make sense, and it'll work, because we have great people all together that can just, do it, and it just happens. I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah, I think that's the fun part, just being able to be, to be malleable and trying to, be, when it's time to change something, it's, and sometimes admittedly I'll be up on the tower and Jeremy or Brad will say, hey, can we do this? I'm like, maybe. I'm not saying no. I'm not saying yes. It's a maybe. Let me think about it and let me see if we can work on it and find a solution. So.
Well, it all sounds really fun. Like you're figuring out how much can we do with everything that we have to work with, and all the constraints that we have, and then you're creating really great, effective visual programs within all those parameters. So it sounds like you're doing all these things really well, and really paying attention to what your students need and what they want to do and making it fun for them. So it sounds really good. Is there any part of this conversation about what you guys are doing that we haven't talked about yet?
Well, I will just say, I have to shout out the fact that from the visual side, we did start an indoor color guard this year for the first time, which was the best experience I've ever had teaching an indoor in my entire existence, and I've been around for a while, so that's saying a lot. But it wasn't just the students; it was the university supporting us. It was Iain supporting us. It was just having a great group and a great staff and to begin something. And that's what the show was called, The Beginning. And we had 6 people that were in the color guard. They were amazing. We again rehearsed very minimally because it's a scholastic thing, even though it's a university and we're independent. But I also would encourage anybody out there, if you have a university, start an indoor program. It is not an expensive thing, especially from the color guard standpoint, and the students get so much out of it. And They're all on campus. They're all on campus. You don't have to worry about them being late to rehearsal unless they, fall asleep in their dorm. It's amazing. It's amazing.
Well, I think Jeremy hit on something. Like, the support we have from Widener is really exceptional. The relationship with the athletic department is awesome. Like, we know the coaches, they know us. We're sharing the field house for indoor rehearsal. We're sharing the fields every Saturday morning, before home games and so on. So we have a really great relationship with the athletic department first and foremost, and obviously the university kind of at large. And it's been fun to be a part of it. I think they think of us as one of them, and we think of us as one of them as well. We're all Widener together, and trying to put our best foot forward.
I love that. Brad, anything you want to say as we're closing that we haven't said?
No, I mean, I think just having the members buy into what we're trying to do is a huge part of this of the marching band. From year one to the present. I like to say year now, but I think just like when we had year one, like you ask the members to do this or that, and they're like, they kind of like get a little defensive, or like they're just not sure. But I think over the time they've been buying into the philosophy, they've been buying into what we're trying to do, design, show wise, and it's like these shows have started to come to life. So I mean, I give kudos to the members for making this happen.
Yeah, well, I love that you guys are so focused on entertainment, on entertaining everyone in your audience, taking care of your students, being really smart with their time and what you're asking of them. You're doing all the right things, I think. So, Iain, man, a lot of really smart things happening.
Yeah, it's been a really fun. It's more than a job. It's a passion project, I think, for all of us. And I think we get excited about, okay, what's the next show going to be? What are we going to try to do this year, and so on. It's been a really fun environment to be involved with, for sure.
That's awesome. Well, Iain and Brad and Jeremy, thank you so much for talking with me today, and continue doing that great work up at Widener. I can't wait to see one of these shows.
Thanks.
All right, thank you.
Marching Arts Education is the home of the Marching Roundtable podcast. We give you access to the top marching arts professionals through live webinars, podcasts, videos, interviews, and online coursework. With over 1,000 podcasts and hundreds of webinars and videos, there are hours of great professional development for you and your staff. Sign up for a membership to Marching Arts Education to get complete access to all webinars, videos, and podcasts, plus discounts on coursework. Many directors are using professional development funds through their school or boosters to make these resources available to their staff. Imagine what you could do with so many great new ideas from the top professionals in our activity. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and sign up for our newsletter to find out about the latest podcasts, webinars, and new content. Find all of this and sign up at marchingartseducation.com.